right.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's quite a special night. And you see our guest here tonight. And I've left the chain of office on because he used to wear it too.
Yeah.
And it's quite special to have my friend Steve Peters here tonight, Your Worship.
Your Worship.
And we still get to call each other that. But Steve made an announcement tonight. Steve, I'll let you tell the folks at home.
Well, thanks very much, Your Worship, and thanks to you and to Grayden for this great show of communicating with the community. And I took an opportunity to communicate to my council colleagues tonight that I have tendered my resignation as a city councillor. I was first elected to city council in 1988, 37 years ago. Over the years, between two stints on city council and my provincial service, it's been 30 years of elected office for me, and I'm 62 years old. So half my life I've been in politics. And 1 year ago, I took a job as I was appointed as the chairman of the Ontario Greenhouse Vegetable Growers, and it's an extremely interesting industry. You know, Ontario, we're home to the second largest greenhouse operations in the world, next only to the Netherlands, largest in North America. And, you know, we grow your tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers, and we're hopefully someday soon going to be representing strawberries and lettuce as well, too. Right. And it's a really important industry and really important part of agriculture in Ontario. But I've always been a person that needs to be focused in my life. And I, for the past year, have been wearing two hats, one hat of a city councillor, the other as chairman of the Greenhouse Vegetable Growers. And I've given a lot of thought to this over the summer and into the fall, and I made the decision, and I had consultation with the mayor, and that it was time for me to step aside. And so tonight I offered my resignation to the people of St. Thomas, and I just appreciate the opportunity from the mayor and Grayden just to say thank you to the people of St. Thomas who have supported me all these years. The job of being a local politician can be thankless at times. It's changed a lot in 37 years. I didn't have to worry about keyboard warriors at home and things like Facebook. And that so that has certainly changed. And I want to leave one comment that I made tonight to the council chambers, and because one of the things that's really troubled me, and I said to Lisa, because I did let some city staff know in advance that if you're ever going to look at a voter engagement strategy, let me know. You know, the turnout was less than 30%. Less than 1 in 3 people voted in St. Thomas. Mm-hmm. When I was elected mayor in 1991, as an example, 51% of the population voted. Mm-hmm. So we have got to find a way to re-engage the public. And, you know, my line is, if you don't vote, don't complain. Right. So, Your Worship, I just wanted to say thanks to you. You've been an amazing leader, and you've pulled together a great council where we've worked together. We don't always agree. You don't have to agree 100% of the time. But at the same time, though, we can disagree and we can walk out of the room and still be friends at the end of the night. And that is a testament to your work and your leadership of that you've provided to the people of St. Thomas since 2018.
Well, thanks for saying those nice things. But you and I both know I get a lot of advice.
You can still have it too.
I keep looking. I keep searching the rest of Ontario to find any place that had 2 mayors on council, 2 former mayors on council, right? And I tell everybody I get lots of advice. I don't have to listen to it all, but I get lots of advice. But I shared tonight at council that I asked you for a lot of political advice, or a lot of certainly St. Thomas advice, and you don't ever say you should do. You say, here's what I think, and you share your great ideas and what you just said about, you know, we've had a council of 9 that has just been, I've never seen another council like it anywhere. It's been so hard working together and forward thinking as to what we can do. You've been a huge part of that and a huge help getting us there. It's going forward going to be, St. Thomas has got some great things going on. And we can be proud for years to say, remember when we did that?
I know. Like Peter Laing, who I took over from. Peter Laing retired from council in 1988 after 54 years on on city council, and I have a photo with Peter passing my hat. But Peter's line used to be, well, you know, in 1934, and it's but
we did this. We paved all this.
You know, I just, you know, the one other comment I just wanted to make with the mayor here is, you know, both of us have always had this attitude of putting people first, and that we've represented people and not necessarily parties. And it's one of the things I've always enjoyed about municipal politics is that, you know, you can say it's black, I say it's white, Grayden says it's gray, and we get on with the gray.
Right.
And I think one of the things a lot of the public does not realize about Mayor Joe and myself is that the tremendous relationship we had when he was MP and I was MPP. You know, a Tory and a grip. Right. You know, and people were always amazed at how we worked together.
You and I would be sitting in Legends or whatever the restaurant was called in the day. Because we'd meet about once a month to discuss what you were getting done in province and what I could get done federally and bring the right things to the
And then we made sure we were on the same page, both advocating for the same infrastructure projects and we got it.
Well, I was sharing that today, that other local politicians, provincially and federally, would say, how do you keep getting some of everything? I said, well, I work with my member of provincial parliament to both ask for the same things that are right for our community, and we get it. But I'm sitting in restaurants and somebody coming up and saying, what are you two doing sitting together? I said, well, he's my friend, and we're working on St. Thomas, on Elgin, on whatever it could be. Right? And, well, I don't know if I like this. I said, well, you like it when we get things.
You're darn right.
And we worked hard at it. So, Stephen, our friendship doesn't end. You're still on my speed dial for...
and I'll be here for you too, Mayor Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. And people of St. Thomas, thank you.
Tonight.
I've got my lovely spouse, Karen McDade, here with me right now.
Yep.
My brother, Joey, came in from Toronto. My sister came in from London. And we're on our way out. We're going to go have old school pizza, but we're going to go out to the cemetery and pay my respects to my mom and dad. They were... My dad only saw one of my elections. My mother saw almost every one of my elections, and I miss them dearly, and I love them. But they instilled in me a lot of good things. So thanks, St. Thomas.
We're how you turned out. So way to go.
Thanks.
All right, Steve, we're going to take a quick break while we let Steve go. And thank you, Steve, and Karen. Thank you also for being here tonight.
Karen's also here in the peanut gallery.
Yeah.
Anytime, Grayden.
We don't have an audience.
You want to get back into the trivia questions and history stuff, because that's one thing I'm not giving up is local history.
I'm in, and I'm really glad we're not losing your voice.
No,
that's one of the most important things, whether you're on council or not.
Right. We get to talk about what's right and wrong and how it goes.
And as soon as I get my house situation sorted out by the end of the year, I'm starting that history show because I'll have one less thing to worry about.
Good. Good.
Excellent.
Well, Steve, thanks again so much.
Thank you both.
So we taking a quick break?
We're taking a quick break and be right back.
All right.
All right, and we're back.
We're back. We're sorry we had to take a quick break, but Steve really had to get out of here tonight. And I was happy he said yes when we asked him to come do a little bit of Mayor's update after him making the announcement of leaving municipal politics again.
Mm-hmm.
No,
well, you never know if he's going to come back. Hat trick. I hear
32 years of politics in his life. I was trying to figure it out. I think I'm at 21. And so it's the amount that Steve has done for this community is unpayable. He just has done it. And I thank I saw some of the comments that were on there. We didn't get a chance to have Steve answer any of the questions, but mostly they said, way to go. You've been a good guy and really done great things for our community. I will be melancholy for a couple of days about losing a great councillor, someone who helped really move this city in the last 7 years towards the economic prosperity and the future that it will have. But I'm not, as I said, I'm not losing a friend. So Steve and I can still chat about all the things we think we can still do better. So look, I'll take any of your other questions tonight, but thanks for all your good help in saying saying goodbye to Councillor Peters, former Mayor Peters, former Speaker of the House Peters, former Minister Peters, former Member
Councillor
of Provincial
Peters.
Parliament
Yeah.
Peters. And then we go back to former mayor, former councillor, and so look,
Yeah.
it's been it is such a great time working with some of the people we get to work with here in this community, and they've all made the community a little better. As Steve just said, there sure is times when we fight it out a little bit, or we have really good, strong direction and discussion about where we should be as a community, what we should do next. When we leave that council room, it's unanimous. We've decided, and whether you won or lost, and most times we win together, but our city will be a better place because it made sound decision with good discussion.
Yeah.
So thank you.
No, I think that's very important. And like you talked about in terms of politics, it's the only way to do it if you're going to move ahead as a community. We've talked about it. It's why we do this show.
And Steve talked a lot about the guts it is that the keyboard warriors are out there anonymously saying things to you. Look, as he said, first of all, if you don't vote, don't complain.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see the voting record of everybody on here. If you feel that strongly about things, get some signs made. There's an election coming up in a year's time. And if you give us good input here on Mayor's Update, perhaps you could actually do it in real person too, under a real name.
Yeah.
So, and those of you who are reading the questions could certainly know who I might be sharing that with. It's a positive night and about great things.
Yeah.
So,
and there was a transportation master plan. It's a 30-year plan, has a budget of $502 million as
over 30 years.
Over 30 years.
Yeah. Looking at what this city will look like in 2051, where we're assuming an 80,000 population, and what we'll need to have done from a transportation point of view, roads, trails, active transportation, trails and walking trails, bike paths, and a transit look as to where we would need to be, what we'll have to get better at with our transit, and our regional transportation plan as to what we can do better. We all have talked about Highbury Avenue how that would certainly be a better transportation route if the MTO and the City of London and us work together. I'm at a meeting tomorrow talking a little bit about that too. But also regional transit. The ability to get to London was a huge thing to get done, and we're doing it. But now we need to certainly have more in order to reach better goals in London, but also the rest of the regional transportation. How do we get people to Elmer that live in Elmer want to work here in St. Thomas, or vice versa? Same thing with Port Stanley. Same thing with a number. Our region needs to continue to work together. Steve said it in his speech tonight too.
Yeah, and I think
our region working together.
When he was commenting on the regional transportation, it makes total sense, because I was taking a look at that transportation plan, and it ends. He's like, you say, you need to be able to get a bus from Talbotville into St. Thomas to work. You want a bus from Port Stanley into St. Thomas.
Well, as it stands right now, the Central Elgin is working very, very hard on the repopulation of what was the old psych hospital lands, and turning it into a bunch of absolutely needed housing during a housing crisis. So right now the bus would stop.
Yeah,
that's not St. Thomas, and we will need to deal with the 10,000 people or more that might live on the psych hospital lands, and where they might need to go. Youth getting to school, others getting to work, others getting to a transportation hub to get them to London and other things. Also in the transportation master plan, it talked about what do we need to do to Sunset Avenue in order to be able to handle the psych hospital growth and get people to other parts of the province, the regional aspect of it all. Look, we're going to spend a lot more time talking about our transportation master plan as part of our full strategic plan here in the city. We believe we're looking forward as to what to do next best, but we still need input from you. Even the transportation master plan that went public had a bunch of youth giving thoughts on what should happen. A open ask of information for you to talk to us on transit and the transportation plan. It was really weak on public participation. And I know we've talked on here, and even last week, I think Dale asked us a question about how do we get public participation to council? Well, we ask for it all the time. Mm-hmm. We ask for your input. We spend full time at the home show and now with the social media and the mayor's update, being mm-hmm. able to give your input. We're going to ask you for more and more and more. And then obviously, like everything else, the council will have to make a decision, but with far more information to make it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of points that they brought up that were fascinating as well, right, in terms of like, looking at transit gaps in service, extending the hours of service, separating bike paths from traffic to right. encourage people to actually get on their bikes, because they found that was
right. Well, and
very
encouraging
helpful.
Density in the core of our city, because mm-hmm. then we can use active transportation lanes,
yes,
right, along with transit mm-hmm. as ways for people to be able to live in their community, and get them to a transit hub that would get them to London or to someplace mm-hmm. else to work. Right?
And they were saying, if you take, say, everybody in St. Thomas bikes or walks 1 day a week,
right?
Out of a 5-day work week, that takes 20% of the wear and tear on those roads, and it removes it.
Right. No, agreed.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you have a longer
and then it gives us a chance to do better. Certainly, arterial roads wide mm-hmm. enough to handle large amounts of traffic. Yeah. I've lived in other places that grew like St. Thomas did, and said we can't get to where we have to live with narrow roads. It'll be congested. We need to make it so it's not. Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect, easily to say. Now, how do we make something that's not currently an arterial road arterial road for the future?
Like Wellington
with bike
Road.
Lanes. Yeah, Wellington's a great example. We talked tonight a bit with the presentation about Center Street mm-hmm. and what we've done there to make a complete bike lane.
Lovely.
Running the full length of our downtown, or will when we're all done.
Yeah.
Right. And bikes not in traffic. Mm-hmm. So it's a safety thing, and we'll continue to work on it too. So
yeah, and I mean, I know it's controversial, but I love the fact that just north of Talbot, the 2 roads just north of there that go east-west have been 2 ways. I think it's fantastic. Right. It's a better use of the infrastructure there, and it allows you, say there's a holdup on Talbot, like say something's happening. There's just the other day, the police had it closed off.
Right.
I was able to pop over.
I know where Scott Street goes, and
right,
and where Center Street is.
Yeah.
And they're certainly less populated streets. There's parking on them on purpose, right? But the safety of having streets like that.
And I don't mind being forced to drive a little bit slower when there's cars parked. I know some people have real issues. They don't want to drive around the cars. But I'm like, if you look at the amount of land we're saving by having parking plus just having to wait a bit and then go around and drive a little slower, for me, looking at it from an infrastructure point of view, it's so worth it.
Right.
Because why just pave your city and turn it into roads when you can have that as living or work or play space?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, all of these things are in that master plan. Mm-hmm. Now, they're not going to happen all in 2025.
No, then 30 years.
It's a 30-year outlook for our growth to over 80,000 people by 2051. And what would that mean? How many will be on buses? How many will be using active transportation? How many will now live in a dense enough area that they can walk to work or do most of their other work that way? And how many more will be well connected to London and other municipalities around us?
Yeah, that's really the only way to do it. And I was just watching Elgin County. They had their council meeting today as well. And so I was tying into that. And they're talking about similar things and the infrastructure for all of their assets.
Well, this is the issue we currently have with Central Elgin, Southwold, and the other smaller municipalities.
Yep.
Not saying that in a derogatory way, in Elgin County, is the cost of wastewater, the cost of water, the cost of roads is really expensive. Mm-hmm. So the more that St. Thomas can work together with, say, Central Elgin, where we've already given them some almost $70 million worth of wastewater usage, right? So that they can grow with us providing some of the servicing, where if we can do what we want to do to Sunset and other streets, then they'll also be able to grow because we did that.
Right. And what's your feeling around the recommendation for the 67 kilometers of sidewalks to be built in where they aren't currently in the city?
Well, look, wherever there's not two-sided streets with sidewalks, some of them right now are very minor streets. That's not to say that in 2051 they're minor streets still.
Yeah.
So we should fill in double-sided sidewalks wherever we can. Of course, when we do that on a street that doesn't currently have a sidewalk on one side, that's a longer driveway for those residents.
Right.
And so we come in and put in a sidewalk. They go, not in my backyard,
Mhm.
because now you've put a sidewalk in, so that it's very much better for active transportation.
Now,
For walking.
in some cases, you have to take property from the landowner, put in the
Oh,
sidewalk.
it's probably already city property at the base of their driveway,
Mm.
but there's not but right now, if you park a
Mhm.
car over a sidewalk, it's
Yeah.
not to be done without a fine. And so we'll get some of that as we do this.
Well, that was a really interesting recommendation in there as well, in terms of the fines and removing it off the court system in terms of parking tickets.
Yeah, many municipalities, a lot with speed cameras or red light cameras, have moved to their own municipal court issue, administrative court they call it.
Mhm.
While we're watching still as to what the province is going to do about speed cameras.
Well, they're getting rid of them, aren't they?
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I've learned to wait till the legislation passes before we get into that. But we probably should be,
Mhm.
again, sharing an administrative court with all the municipalities around us. So any bylaw infraction, we don't all have to set up a court. All right.
Right. Now, I've had a parking ticket, but I pay it at City Hall.
Right.
Is this for someone who doesn't pay that ticket?
No. Well, if somebody wants to fight that ticket, right?
Okay.
If you say I was legally parked and
Yep.
they want to go, so there's an administrator who's the court system. Same as if you wanted to fight a red light camera or a speed camera, that whole court would handle all of the. Look, if you're just going to pay your tickets, way to go, and thank you very much, because it is a good
Well,
help.
there's nothing to contest. I was there for like 4 hours.
Right. So
It's-
so then you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But there are many people who say, but I saw other cars parked, and right.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that's what that administrative court is for. But I think we don't need an administrative court in all 7 municipalities in Elgin County.
Do they have that now?
No, but if
Yeah.
we all go this route
Mhm.
and there are bylaws that need to be enforced, then why don't we share a court system?
Right.
Right.
Would they have
Like
to
we
drive
do.
all the way to St. Thomas for it?
You can. I'm proposing something that
West Elgin's
isn't there now.
it's a fairly
Right. So, as it stands right now, the provincial offences court that is currently in Elgin,
Right.
beside the Elgin County building.
So you'd still have to come to St. Thomas regardless. Right now, as it stands.
Well, but even if you got the ticket in Dutton,
Mhm.
it's a provincial court building, and you have to come that far if you're going to
Yeah.
contest the court thing. So, anyway, I'm missing any questions tonight, but
We've got a question in terms of who's going to replace Councillor Peters now, or former Councillor Peters.
I
now
will
that
tell
he's-
you the procedure, and I
Mhm.
probably won't get into too much detail. Next Monday night at council, we'll declare his seat vacant,
Mhm.
right? We then have a set amount of time for council then to decide how we will replace the seat, how we will fill the seat.
Yep.
And I think we have a month or two to do how we would do it. Of course, there's a number of different ways. We could hold an election.
Mhm.
But that's about $200,000 to hold an election. So we're like, we might say no to
That's
that.
a fair amount of money.
Well, it's up to council to decide. I'm only one vote.
Mhm.
We can also look to appoint someone.
Mhm.
And the appointment could be someone off the last election results, or somebody else who's a prominent citizen who maybe won't run in the next election, and that would free up a spot and not give somebody an advantage. All this discussion needs to take place at council probably 3 weeks from now, after we declare the seat vacant next week. And then from there, we'll be as open and honest on Mayor's Update as we can as to how can we do it, right?
Yeah. And next question from Brett Longfield. What's the average age of council? Do you know if there's a median?
If you take the mayor out, that really skews the number. Look, I'd have to guess, but because most city councils pay very little, and most of the people on it are prominent citizens with name recognition, former teachers, former activists in the community, former committee members, then most of them are of a more advanced age, I guess, or they wouldn't have that name recognition, right? It's truly how it works.
We had a question from last week that I missed. It was about Sandymount and the development there. How is that progressing?
Well, I mean, I think some of the roads are starting now to be completed and filled. Beehive, have you not done anything up on Sandymount? Sounds like it's time.
I think it's about time.
Go up there and see what the developer is doing.
Yeah.
One of the other things off tonight's agenda was You remember we talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago, how can we designate an area a neighborhood planning zone?
Mm-hmm.
And so we recognize the area of the Elman Wilson development that's happening on what was the old railway wetlands down there,
Mm-hmm.
has been now targeted as our trial on these neighborhood zoning. So it can be zoned different in that the area that Drew Lowe's been looking at, the old Victor plant behind the arena, all of that can be now called a certain neighborhood with certain bylaws that cover just that area.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it will give us a chance to move some projects more forward and quicker.
Love that.
As you know, we're still doing the secondary plan and putting together the terms of reference for the secondary plan for the railway lands. That's another area that might get that same type of treatment when we get there, but we've certainly got to get through the secondary plan first.
Very, very good. All right, we're coming to the end of our time. So if you have any final questions about what was happening at council or the transit plan, get them in.
Well, I love this last question from Brent. What is council doing about traffic issues in St. Thomas? And I can't read the rest. Currently experiencing
amid rampant speculative local growth.
Well, that's exactly what we've just been talking about in a transportation master plan that looks outwards over 30 years. That's why we do this. It's why we study ourselves this way. Look, we're going to see growth. Each of those people is going to come with a bike, a car, a house, right?
Yeah.
And so the city will be using it, and we'll need to continue to look at it. We actually do speed control on some roads, right? And we actually do better movement of cars on other roads on purpose. That's what the 30-year master plan is about.
So Brett has asked, is older age and status, as Joe Preston, in Brett's belief, explained a requirement for council members?
No, not at all. Look at Steve Peters became the mayor of this community in his 20s, right? And that was 30 some years ago. So never been a requirement, never been asked for. We've had lots of young members of parliament or members of council. I'm sorry, but I can't excuse my age. It's who I am and what I'm doing. All right. But look at somebody very young wants the job. Come on and do it, and come on and counsel and do it. Certainly have done a lot of that in the past, and we'll continue to do that.
Free Bet says, I believe the only requirement is votes.
Right. It is getting out there and letting people believe in your philosophy of what you want to do to move the city forward. And when people believe that, you get elected. As Steve said, I want more. We want to have a greater turnout at elections.
Right.
Sometimes that happens greatly when there's controversy. Because people, right? It almost never happens when people are very happy. They go, well, nope, status quo is good. We'll be happy with that. Look, we got a year till the next election, so we'll do it.
Yeah. And I know that some people were very disappointed that we're not doing the Taylor Swift episode.
Oh, yeah.
We were supposed to do that this week, but we did have to move it just because of the announcement from Steve.
Right.
And we wanted to make sure
we'll be all ready next week to talk a little bit about Taylor Swift's new album.
Yep. And I believe Bree, if she's available, Bree was going to come in this week.
Yes.
And
Thank you, Bree, for offering.
As the expert. But we will be having Bree on next week to talk about Taylor Swift as the expert. I love Taylor Swift, but I can't claim to be as wise as Bree is in relation to Taylor Swift. We should also give a shout out to St. Joe's 100th year anniversary.
We got, I think next year, Voden's having 100 too, right?
Oh, wow. Is St. Joe's older than Voden?
Well, remember St. Joe's was behind
Holy
Angels.
I don't remember. I heard.
Right. I can only assume, since I just saw something about 100th anniversary coming up in the future of Voden. Wow. So, yeah. But way to go to... there are some people still in grade 9. No, I'm just kidding. That's a long life.
I love all the high schools in St. Thomas and all the jokes back and forth. Blue Jays. We've been asked for a prediction from you. Will they come back?
Well, I sure hope so. I'm going to watch to see if they can. I mean, down 2 games, going to Seattle for 3 games before they can come back. Let's win at least 2 of the 3 in Seattle and come back here and look. I'm game to sweep the rest of the series. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. All right. So that's the prediction from the mayor of St. Thomas. The Jays come back and then they sweep the series. They go on to, would you say, win the World Series after that?
Well, that would be then the winner of Milwaukee and LA. Yeah,
the Dodgers. So. You think the Dodgers going to win that one?
it feels like they will, but
Mhm.
Milwaukee's been fooling everybody all year long. So, and I can't say as I've watched a lot of Brewers games, so I don't know the depth of their pitching or their hitting. So,
Yeah.
all right, it's a lot like not knowing about Taylor Swift's new album.
Well, we got to get you. We got to get you into that.
I'll be all studied up. I'll be all ready.
I know I was sending you tracks over the weekend.
Yeah,
but it was Thanksgiving too, so I understand that,
and then I didn't have an audience with me over the Thanksgiving weekend where I could say, I want to poll you all on Taylor's new album.
Okay.
Yeah, they all went, Taylor who?
Yeah, well, I reached out. I sent you the I reached out to Taylor Swift's team as well, just in case she decides she's got a minute.
No, she wants to come on.
She wants to join the show with us and Bree and talk about her work. Then we're very excited to have her if she decides to. You never know. Right. Stranger things have happened. All right, folks, we're at the end of our time here. Thanks again for joining us. And Steve Peters, thank you for all you've done as a city councilor, all you've done as a municipal member of parliament.
And thank you for your friendship. Mm-hmm. I mean, what you've done personally between the two of us is just incredible too. But the city of St. Thomas will thank you for years. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Take care, everybody. Oh, and next week, Monday or Wednesday. I'm not here Tuesday, but Monday or Wednesday.
Monday's got council, so that always sometimes can hold us up.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm thinking,
I think Wednesday's better to plan for.
Let's pull that.
Anything going on? Wednesday?
Yes. No, we can't do business after 5. It's the jumbo business after 5.
All right.
So Monday after council.
Monday then. Going to do Monday after council. So watch the live stream of council. See all the great work your council is doing. The very young council that you have. Watch what's happening there, and then you'll know to tune into Mayor's Update right after it ends.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thanks
we'll see you next Monday.